I'm Kendra Cook, your host for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association. That's the Special District Association responsible for bringing the area free-to-access TV stations over the air by antenna. This is a community TV station, so if there's a news event or story information that you would like to share, you can call us at 970-677-4119. If you're a business or organization, we welcome you to find out about sponsorship opportunities for banners or video segments run on the channel. This is the Monday program for April 27th, 2020, DCTV Daily News. The Journal reported on the status of Montezuma County regarding our health emergency period with a file photo. Montezuma County plans to follow the Colorado governor's guidelines for a phased reopening of non-essential businesses, county commissioners said on a live-streamed public meeting last Thursday afternoon. Governor Jared Polis's stay-at-home order lifted April 26, but he has emphasized that precautions should be taken for a safe, phased reopening of businesses. The county agreed and outlined a draft plan last week that would allow retailers to come back to life while keeping in mind the community's health and hospital capacity. Quote, overall, what he has put down here is a very good start to a phased reopening and getting back to some kind of economic activity in our community, Montezuma County Commissioner Keenan Ertel said on Thursday. And I think that's crucial at this stage, that we start seeing how these businesses and people that are in our community can work within these guidelines, be as safe as possible, keep everybody that comes to that business as safe as possible, and start to regenerate some economic activity in our community. County Administrator Shaq Powers told the Journal that Montezuma County will not be moving forward with any plans until approved by the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment at this point. Montezuma County is using guidelines from the Colorado Association of Local Public Health Officials, which has recommended 5, quote, triggers that regions should meet prior to reopening. They include cases of the coronavirus decrease for at least 14 days, hospitals safely treat patients without resorting to crisis standards of care, tests are performed for everyone with symptoms consistent with COVID-19 infection, active monitoring for all COVID-19 cases and their contacts, clear protocol that requires social distancing and assists with case identification. According to county commissioners and local health officials, Montezuma County is mostly on track with the trigger points, although they must monitor the situation and, quote, remain flexible to meet the community's needs, said Dr. Kent Aiken, the county's health department physician. If we have adequate testing capacity and also if we have adequate contact tracing capacity, then we can use the testing and the contact tracing to identify who in the community has the illness and try to isolate those people from the rest of the community, and particularly try to protect people who are at high risk who might be exposed to individuals with the illness, Aiken said at the live-streamed meeting. Southwest Health System has been operating a drive-through flu and COVID-19 clinic for over a month now. Right now, if a patient doesn't test positive for the flu but meets the coronavirus criteria of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, a nasal swab specimen is taken by Southwest and sent off to an off-site facility for a COVID-19 test. Test results usually take 2 to 7 days, according to Bridget Jabor, Executive Assistant at Southwest Health Systems. So Southwest is working to purchase testing equipment so that the hospital can conduct in-house testing and get results in 2 to 4 hours, Jabor said. Hospital capacity depends largely on the severity of cases. More intense cases will pull more staff and resources, Aiken said. We also need to keep in mind that there are other illnesses in the community that we routinely have taken care of and that we still want to have some ability to take care of, he said. The draft plan outlines 2 phases for reopening. Phase 1 includes, quote, lifting restrictions that have low risk for community spread of COVID-19 and have medium to high benefit for the residents of Montezuma County. Phase 2 would further loosen restrictions once certain not yet specified triggers are met. Phase 1 of the plan builds off the governor's safer at home precautions, which, according to the county, state vulnerable populations and older adults must stay home unless absolutely necessary. No group gatherings of more than 10 people. Critical businesses will remain open with strict precautions. Retail businesses may open for curbside delivery and phased-in public opening with strict precautions. Nightclubs, gyms, and spas will remain closed. Elective medical and dental procedures begin with strict precautions to ensure adequate personal protective equipment and the ability to meet critical care needs. Personal services, salons, tattoo parlors, dog grooming, personal training, etc., will open with strict precautions. K-12 schools and post-secondary institutions will continue to suspend normal in-person instruction for the rest of the 2019-20 school year. Telecommuting continues for offices. And beginning May 4th, up to 50% of staff can work in person while following social distancing procedures. Under the governor's guidelines, restaurants and bars are still prohibited from opening in-person services. However, Montezuma County's draft plan proposes that officials could consider helping restaurants appeal to the CDPHE to allow 10 or fewer dine-in guests, with tables physically spread out and curbside pickup still available. The county will be working with the municipalities, chambers, health department, hospital, and hopefully the tribe to draft a plan on behalf of the currently closed sectors of our economy to get them back to work safely, Powers told the Journal. We have a few more details on what this looks like for Dolores County in our High Canyon Country Happening segment coming up later in the program. And now, let's take a look at the local weather and the wind forecast. Hope everyone could enjoy as best as possible this past weekend. Those winds certainly did not stop for very long. Today, we're looking at more sunny skies with a high near 73 degrees with east winds 5 to 10 miles an hour becoming west-southwest in the afternoon. For tonight, mostly cloudy, then gradually becoming clear with a low around just 46 degrees. Imagine that. People are starting to get anxious about putting plants out. Main Supply suggested you start taking seedlings out to harden them off during the day and take them back in at night for now. Tonight, west-southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour shift to the east-northeast after midnight. For Tuesday, again a sunny day with a high near 74 degrees. Those winds will be picking up again. East-northeast winds at 10 to 10 miles an hour become north-northwest in the afternoon with wind gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. And given those dry conditions out there is a fire weather watch in effect Tuesday afternoon until 8 p.m. Once those winds settle back a bit, Tuesday night will be clear and a low around 44. Northeast winds 5 to 15 miles an hour. Wednesday, sunny and warmer with a high near 77 degrees. Northeast winds just around 5 miles an hour become southwest in the morning. By Wednesday night, we clear out with a low around 49 degrees overnight. Thursday, mostly sunny and a high near 80 degrees. Thursday night, partly cloudy and a low around 51 degrees. For Friday, sunny with a high again near 80 degrees. Friday night, mostly clear and a low around 49. For Saturday, sunny and a high near 76 degrees. Saturday night, mostly clear and a low around 46. So for now, those overnight temps are significantly above the freezing mark. If you do start to plan outside, make sure to have covers available just in case. Or better yet, maybe think about growing in a greenhouse. In that case, be sure to keep that well ventilated as it could heat up quickly this summer. Send in your photos or post them on the Facebook group Dove Creek Local Weather Photos and show off your gardening tips and ideas. And now, back to the news. The Durango Herald reports on the stay-at-home order affecting domestic violence situations. Jerry McBride photo. The Volunteers of America Southwest Safe House in Durango is designed to be a secret, safe place where anyone fleeing household violence can find refuge at any time. The coronavirus has changed that. Quote, because children, women, and men are sometimes having to flee domestic violence situations in the middle of the night, we've always strived to never turn somebody away, said Rachel Bausk, VOA Division Director. We don't have the ability to do that right now in order to adhere to social distancing guidelines. While domestic violence calls have nearly doubled since Colorado's first coronavirus case March 5th, local service agencies have been forced to cut capacity and adapt services because of the virus. As states imposed stay-at-home orders in response to the growing outbreak, domestic violence and child abuse service providers expressed concerns that stay-at-home orders might be trapping some people in violent situations without support. As the state prepares to reopen and victims have more opportunities to leave the house, service providers feel like they might get an influx of calls. Quote, our domestic violence and domestic disturbance calls have gone up quite a bit, said Commander Ray Shoup, spokesperson for Durango Police Department. It's not just violence between adult couples, but between siblings and between parents and children, he said. Southwest Safe House saw a lull in new guests during the winter, but once March and April arrived, the Safe House saw a big spike. Bausk said those calls weren't just coming from Durango. They were coming from across the state. Many other shelters got to the point of having to put a pause on their own intakes, and some winter-only shelters were closing, Bausk said. That's when we had to make the decision as an agency. The Safe House cut its intake capacity from 26 beds to 12 to open up quarantine areas and allow for social distancing. It turned away 16 people in April, 2 because of capacity issues and 1 because the person had COVID-19 symptoms. Volunteers of America, which also operates the Durango Community Shelter for people experiencing homelessness, began to reorganize. It restructured rooms so people could sleep 6 feet apart. Staff transferred 2 women from the shelter to the Safe House so it could move half of the men's population to the female dorm and shift beds farther apart. The organization paused intakes for a weekend in early April. Staff required everyone at the Safe House and the shelter to wear masks. It also began screening intakes for COVID-19 symptoms. Community members were apprehensive about going to a communal living environment, nervous about catching the virus. Once people left the Safe House, staff members could not enforce social distancing restrictions. Quote, "We as providers can give the best advice that we can give, but we weren't able to enforce anything," Bausk said. "I think that was challenging and concerning for both our staff and our guests." Other organizations are also facing virus-related challenges. At La Plata County Human Services, the number of calls in March and April were similar to the same time period in 2019. Most services were already available online or through phone services before the coronavirus arrived. But staff members still have to visit people's homes during the outbreak if they received a report about alleged child abuse or neglect. That means donning face masks, grabbing hand sanitizer, and screening families for symptoms before arriving at the home, said Director Martha Johnson. When on the rare occasion a family needs to come into the office, staff members prepare specific rooms for the visit. Quote, "A lot of calls don't necessarily meet the criteria for child abuse or neglect," Johnson said. "It feels like we're getting more of those kinds of calls now than we did a year ago as families are under increased stress." Once the so-called safer at home period begins, today Monday, Johnson's main concern is child care, particularly for 7 to 10-year-olds. Quote, "The businesses will open, but the schools will not," she said. "A concern we have is what kind of child care arrangements will parents be able to make? Alternative Horizons offers counseling, currently through video platforms, a crisis line, and other services for people experiencing violence at home. Staff has begun placing business cards in liquor stores, pharmacies, and grocery stores, all open during the stay-at-home order. Our concern has been that survivors have had no ability or time to make a call or request help because of the isolation and the stay-at-home order," said Kim Zook, executive director. Overall, Zook said the organization's call volume remained steady, but clients needed more mental health services. People experiencing domestic violence are isolated from family and friends in normal times. During the stay-at-home order, that isolation became more pronounced. Those past traumas are coming up, and in talking about those, we're also reminding clients of their strengths and resiliency and what they've been going through, Zook said. Now that Colorado is transitioning into its safer at home order, Zook expects a shift in services. All of the agencies in Colorado are feeling that now that things might be opening up a bit, we will have an uptick in cases, Zook said. "I don't have any proof of that. That's just the feeling all across the state." And the Durango Herald article showcases what's available for help and aid with regard to the agricultural businesses in our area, with a photo Jerry McBride. Workers in the agricultural industry are now able to apply for disaster assistance loans under the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, creating another safety net for farmers and ranchers in southwest Colorado as prices for cattle and milk plummet, as an example. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has also dispersed $19 billion to a program that will specifically assist farmers and ranchers through the effects of COVID-19 pandemic called the Coronavirus Food Assistance Program. The USDA will use $3 billion of the funding to purchase excess beef and produce and donate it to food banks to support those who can't afford to buy food during the economic shutdown. Senator Cory Gardner, Republican from Colorado, said in a phone interview that the USDA is trying to disperse the funding by the end of April or early May. Taylor Zalagi, Director of Policy Communications at the Colorado Farm Bureau, said it is important for agriculture workers and organizations to advocate for funding over the next couple of weeks. Quote, historically, a lot of funding goes east of the Mississippi River, Zalagi said in a phone interview, but this is, quote, an incredibly important move and gesture from the federal government, she said. Ranchers in southwest Colorado have new calves, and they will be looking for new markets to sell their beef, but trading partners in Asian markets will hopefully be opening back up, Zalagi said. The uncertainty is so hard, she said. The announcement of support for the industry comes shortly after meatpacking facilities like JBS were forced to close temporarily. The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment confirmed that at least 102 JBS employees tested positive for COVID-19 and 4 have died. Facility workers operating in close proximity to one another are fearful about their health and have criticized JBS management for not taking the precautions necessary to protect them during the pandemic. Governor Jared Polis said that the situation at the massive meatpacking plant will affect national food security, as well as the state's farmers and cattle ranchers. Sheep ranchers, such as former state senator J. Paul Brown, are preparing to shear their sheep and sell lambs in May. China is usually one of the biggest buyers of American wool, but the trade war between the two countries has caused problems for the market, Brown said. On top of that, sheep ranchers are losing $100 per lamb, originally worth $225 each. The COVID-19 pandemic hit right before the Easter holiday, when sheep ranchers sell the most of their lambs. Ranchers were left with only half of the profit they normally make. And Brown said ranchers may not understand the full scope of their losses until the fall. But some ranchers and farmers in southwest Colorado say they are reluctant to rely on support from the Paycheck Protection Program and aren't sure where they fit into the picture if they were to receive support. The USDA is trying to figure out a way to keep us in business, but I don't think there's enough money anywhere to do this, Brown said. Outside Colorado, meatpacking plants are shutting down across the country, interrupting the food supply chain and causing retail shortages of beef and other food items produced by places like southwest Colorado. It's really serious, Brown said. We need to put people back to work in the U.S. so they have money in their pockets. But public health officials worry that opening the economy too quickly will cause the COVID-19 curve to rise upward exponentially. Local officials are now balancing public health and the economy, as well as the food supply chain in the U.S. Zalagi said continuing processing is going to be key to continue feeding Americans during the pandemic. And just this morning, we had a release that the poultry industry is also now affected. And today's High Canyon Country happenings, as reported April 27th, it's the first day coming out of Colorado's stay-at-home order reduced to a safer-at-home plan, with some reopening for businesses coming after May 1st. All critical businesses continue to operate as they had been. This has caused a lot of concern and a division of populations locally and all around the world. Some lean to the hyper-fear mode that everything is out there to kill you. No one should go anywhere, while more middle-of-the-road people would like to see guarded transitions out of the complete shutdowns, and still others fear their economic demise is more than the low chance for a virus infection, or more that find reports by doctors across the country exposing potential mishandling of the health emergency with fraud and deceit in what the numbers are supposed to be showing. Given all that throughout the environment, life process still goes on. The Colorado Department of Health and Environment outlines the options available to local governments as things move forward. Again, local governments can implement the guidelines of Safer at Home to match the state. Local governments can go farther than the state, including, but not limited to, extended stay-at-home orders or additional protective measures, as they're doing in Denver. Local governments can relax guidelines more than the state, and to do so, they will need to demonstrate proof of 14 consecutive days of a decline in COVID-19 infections in the county. They also must submit an application to CDPHE that includes a written COVID-19 suppression plan approved by the appropriate local public health authority, all hospitals within the jurisdiction, and elected leadership. Polis plans to formalize the process for asking for a county variance in an executive order coming up in the next few days. Counties that are out of compliance will be in jeopardy of losing state emergency preparedness grants as a quid pro quo leverage scenario. Isn't it almost always follow the money? But I digress. So here in Dolores County, the Public Health Department issued a business social distancing protocol document that was distributed to all businesses. In it, there are checklists and requests for information about how the business is to proceed. Things like the 6-foot distancing, wearing masks and cleaning schedules, etc., as well as posting signage on the exterior of the business. And as you may already know, bars and restaurants for sit in service are not yet allowed. The, quote, gathering cap remains at no more than 10 people, and all of these orders are meant to help keep Dolores County at a zero count for infection of the Wuhan coronavirus, although throughout the community there have been many reports of people having survived a terrible respiratory flu-like illness from last November through this past February. Still, with no testing, meaning no one presenting currently with symptoms to merit a test, we still have a score of 0, and the health department would like to keep it that way. So this current status is not conducive to events, but in Norwood they are hosting a virtual Zoom event called Basic Food Gardening Class online via Zoom. It's Tuesday, April 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. A few of their local master gardeners will be tag teaming to teach this class. They will cover the basics of gardening where we live, high and dry. They will give an overview of climate, microclimate, growing season, crop selection, and care from planting to harvest. There will be plenty of time for questions, and they will decide what other topics they may offer additionally online for future classes. Please register in advance for this meeting. There is a link on our Facebook page. And the DC Chamber is hosting their weekly virtual Zoom Chamber Chat. That's at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. It's the same login each week, and any and everyone is encouraged to participate in giving feedback as to what's working or not in the community, sharing info and updates on services and assistance products available. It's a great time to check in and share updates from across the community. You can just listen in, no need to turn on video or audio if you don't want to. We're looking forward to it at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. The link for the Zoom connection is also on our Facebook page. And I post up all of these High Canyon Country happenings on our Facebook page, which is DCTV Daily News, where you can also watch the program replay along with news links and stories of local interest. And you too can share other events or news there and join in on the conversation. Again, this is your local community TV station, so if you have something that you would like to share, contact us. The email is dcbnnews@gmail.com, or you can call us. The station number is 970-677-4119. Thank you for tuning in to DCTV Daily News. Programs are broadcast Monday through Friday with replays online on our YouTube channel or our DCTV Daily News page on Facebook. And if you like the program, please do like and follow us on Facebook and share it with your friends and family. This has been a production of DCTV for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado, USA. I'm Kendra Cook. Again, thank you for watching.